Hi everyone, welcome back to another edition of Nattie's Nook. This week, I'm so sorry that it is a 1 week delay. Well, I guess for your explanation, I can give you a valid one. William here threw up on the pages of my book last week, and it was, it was kind of a mess to clean up, so it was delayed 1 week again. You better not do that this next month, okay? That's not acceptable. So William says he's sorry and he won't throw up on any more books in the future. But today I'm going to bring you a special read, so make sure to tune in. If you would like to, you can go back and check out my previous reviews if you're new here or you've just missed a few. And if you're not new here and you're telling me, Nattie, just cut to the chase, then guess what? I'm going to cut to the chase, and coming up next, May's belated review for Nattie's Nook. This week's book is called The Raven Boys, written by Maggie Stiefvater. It is a 4-star rated on Goodreads, and it's a different read, to say the least. This novel has a few different qualities. I would categorize it as paranormal fiction, and this one was recommended to me by a friend, and at first I was kind of like, what could be special about this novel? But there are a few things that are to note. So, without explaining too much, I'm going to kind of give you a vague overview of what the plot is like. We start off learning about a character named Blue Sergeant. She's going to be your female protagonist, and she is definitely a character that I've grown to admire. I like her kind of weirdness. She's the daughter of a psychic, and the psychic's like the person with the glass ball with like the cloudy smoke inside, like saying, this is your future, this is when you will die, and all that crap. So that's her mom, and Blue's kind of inherited the mind of a psychic in some ways, and Blue's spirit can be seen as something that is very, very helpful to a psychic, if that makes any sense. So we start off learning about Blue. Her mom, the psychic, tells Blue that she should avoid people called the Raven Boys. The Raven Boys are people that go to Agliandi, which is a private school for boys, and these are our 4 male protagonists. Their names are Richard Gansey III, otherwise known as Gansey, Ronan Lynch, Adam Parrish, and Noah Zerny. I'm just gonna call him Noah Zerny because I don't really know how to pronounce his last name, but it's kind of weirdly spelled. I believe it is Czerny or something like that. So it's like Cherney or something. But anyways, enough about Nattie's spelling errors, because those can go on for days. However, Noah, Ronan, Adam, and Gansey are going to be your 4 male protagonists known as the Raven Boys. So Gansey particularly is trying to figure out something kind of strange that's going on in his community, and they kind of intertwine with Blue a little bit towards the beginning of the novel, and these 5 characters kind of start forming what is known as the plot for Raven Boys. The plot is really hard to describe, and I know that was probably the weirdest ever synopsis I've ever given you, and I apologize for that. However, I think it's one of those where you just have to trust me and jump right into it, and I think you will understand practically nothing and everything at the same time. So, a few things I really liked about this novel were, 1, I love Maggie Stiefvater's writing style. Ronan Lynch is probably one of the funniest characters in the book, and anybody who loves the Raven Boys series as much as I do will agree that Ronan kind of made the book good and made it kind of funny, and perhaps just kind of like one-upped the book to like a good book to like a great book, or a great book to an excellent book, or just a plain out excellent book to like a plain out like favorite book. So that's the level at least I consider it. But Ronan kind of made the novel like extremely funny, but that was all because of Maggie Stiefvater. Maggie Stiefvater has a really interesting way of crafting her characters, and that's leading into my second point that I'm going to make, is that she crafted her characters so well that I felt like even though they were practically 5 opposites, they were extremely well woven, and they were extremely well designed to where the story had a lot of different arcs kind of overlapping at the same time. And I like books like that are really complex that you can't break down in a single sentence. So, and that leads me to my third point, in that I want to see more of all these arcs, and luckily this series is a quartet. So there's going to be the Raven Boys, Dream Thieves comes next, and then you have your third book, which is something for I even forgot the title of the third book, and then the fourth book is called The Raven King. But the third book is, I do not remember the title. So, but the second book is called Dream Thieves, and the Dream Thieves, not sure about the plot just yet because I've not jumped into it yet. However, I know it's going to be one to impress just because I've heard amazing things about it, that it has far exceeded the first one and has flipped your mind upside down, and I love books that do that. So, with that being said, enough talk about my opinions. I brought you another treat and brought back Charlotte Kiefer, my novel expert, because she too loves the Raven Boys and has read them, I think maybe a couple times, but she might have only read them once. However, I brought her in to kind of discuss what made the Raven Boys so special on the shelves and take a look at what she had to say.
So one of the things that made me enjoy the Raven Cycle so much actually was her writing style, because I found it to be mysterious in a way that you aren't expecting it to be, since she doesn't have a normal writing style. Like last time when we talked about Cassandra Clare, her writing style is a whole lot different. She's more of like, I'm going to tell you kind of writing style, whereas Maggie, she kind of has you figure it out for yourself. That makes sense. And I love how she incorporates her gorgeous writing style in ways that you aren't expecting. And she just is a master storyteller. And I think that's why I love the Raven Cycle so much, is her writing style is just something that you've never seen before. And it makes her so unique. So that, I guess that's what I'm trying to say there. One of the things that I noticed while I was reading the Raven Cycle is Noah's character had just drawn to me, because I wanted to know why he was so creepy, because he kind of just showed up and you were like, what? You weren't expecting to have a character like him. And I think that's one of the things that also makes the Raven Cycle unique, because he just kind of appears and you're just not expecting to have a character like him. And then it's really interesting. I definitely agree with that statement. I think it's really funny because, like, even in the Raven Boys, like, you can see it. I love how Maggie Stiefvater writes teenagers. Like, she writes them in a very relatable way. And I've read books for, like, that I had to do, like, reviews on. And, like, you could tell it was written by an adult because the kids don't act like kids. And one of the things I love, and Illuminate does it too, like, they genuinely feel like they're, like, 16 to me. Like, they actually feel that age. And, like, there's so many things in the Raven Boys, I'm like, I would do that. I would 100% do that. And, like, in Illuminate, like, they go through, like, these, like, crazy situations, and they're like, well, I don't know how I survived that. I'm like, yeah, I would too. I would ask myself that. Like, and I love that there's genuinely some authors that truly capture the essence of what it feels like to be a teenager. And you don't always see that. And I think it's really fun whenever you read a book and they feel like kids, because they are.
So obviously we had some interesting kind of connections. We had some similar type of points we made. We made them in different ways, but we both came to the same conclusion that the Raven Boys are 4 plus Blue Sergeant to remember. And this leads me to say that this is a 5-star rated book. Now for the age limit / maturity level / the warnings. There's only a few that I have, and it's just really because this book is basically a paranormal fiction, which is kind of edgy in some ways. So I got recommended this book by a friend of mine, so I didn't really like kind of just go to the shelf and pick this one out. Otherwise, I never would have found it. Nonetheless, I'm really glad I found it, but this is all to say that it's really not for the reader that likes something bright and kind of like something uplifting or inspiring. Like, go find, I have plenty of books I reviewed that have good positive messages, but this one's just kind of like your paranormal, that like you just have to know what happens. And if you don't like dark humor and you don't like kind of the weird way and the dry sense of kind of like sarcasm that Maggie uses to write this novel, you might not like it. But if you were one to kind of look for something different, I suggest going to pick this one up. I would say it's for around 14 and up, just because I think it can get a little overly edgy sometimes, but it's nothing like super scary. So if you see it kind of a weird scene, skim through it and then get back to the part where it kind of like calms down a little bit. But it comes up in spasms and it's not all the time, so I wouldn't even be reviewing this book if it was inappropriate. So with that being said, obviously I told you I give it a complete 5-star rating. It's blown my mind. I can't wait to go see Dream Thieves. And once I read Dream Thieves, I'll leave a tiny bit of an update in a later review. But until then, that's it for my May review. I hope you thought that it was worth the wait to see what I had to say about this one, and I hope that you enjoyed hearing Charlie's feedback on the novel, and I know that she definitely played a part in the fact that how I enjoyed this book is she recommended it to me. She's that friend I refer to, and so go and give her a follow on Instagram. Go and give her a shout out in the comments. She definitely helped me get this review to where it is right now. So with that being said, I will see you in June for the mid 2021 review of Nattie's Nook. And until then, happy reading, y'all. Alright guys, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this week's review of Nattie's Nook. I'm sorry again, William just is not feeling good, man. He sends you his condolences that he threw up on pages of our book. So it's okay, he won't do it again, and he's feeling just fine now. He just ate a bit too many pages. So William's gonna go nap and rest for a little bit, and while he naps and rests, I will go and get your June review to you on time this time, and I hope and wish all of you to have some happy reading. And definitely make sure that if you read Raven Boys and you end up liking it, tag me and do a tiny little story post or post on your story, or even just send me a message and tell me what you thought of it. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on what you thought of the book after I review it. And until June, thank you for all of your support, for my returning subscribers, for my new people, for my on the fence people. Thank you to you all for watching this video, and I'll see you in June. Happy reading, guys!